Cybersecurity. I'm the CTO and Senior Risk Advisor at Rhino. I'm here with Andrew Somerton, the CEO of Rhino Cybersecurity. Hello, Rhino. I was going to say.
Hello, Rhino. Hey,
Hello,
Dan.
Andrew. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to everybody. I'm really excited to be back this year, so I'm doing well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Happy New Year, everybody. Have a great show for you. We're going to talk about chat GPT and what it can do for you in cybersecurity, and not just cybersecurity, but a whole bunch of other things. We're going to discover how to write, how to do debugging of code, how to do red team, blue team stuff, and some marketing stuff too that can help you with your company, with your business. So this is going to be an incredible show. So stick around. If you have any questions, make sure that you go on the chat and then you put your questions in there, and we're going to display those questions on the screen and then answer your questions. This is a Q&A show, so make sure you stick around until the very end. Andrew, so we have a couple of news. So we have the first one is we have a new initiative at Rhino Cybersecurity. Maybe you can talk to us about that. Andrew,
Absolutely.
go ahead.
Well, no, I appreciate that, Dan. And you know what? Before we get into the show, I just want to a very special shout out to Dan Duran. It's your birthday today, so happy birthday!
It's my birthday. Yeah,
absolutely. So happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks,
No. In regards to the initiative, we're really proud and excited to launch not only to the general public, but we've been doing it for a few years with companies and corporations. But we've created Rhino Academy. So Rhino Academy. If you look at Rhino Academy, please visit us at shop.rhino.io and you can see about it. You can actually protect yourself personally. It's a very inexpensive course, slow drip campaign that constantly educates you and teaches you through video content, casual testing, self-assessments. That's really going to give you insight and help to protect you. And if you want to look at it for a corporation, obviously something we've been doing, and we customize it for the companies and corporations. So we're really excited to launch that for this year. We just launched it at the end of last year. And if you look at social media, you'll see it all over the place. So please visit and join. I know we're having a
Absolutely. So if my screen looks fuzzy, I apologize for that. I'm experiencing some connectivity issues, but hopefully it will get better. The internet gods are going to be with us, and we're going to be able to go ahead with the show. So we have some nice people on the chat. So let's bring up some of the shout outs. We have Tamara saying, "Hey, hello, Tamara. Guys, welcome back." Hello, Tamara. I hope you're doing fantastic today. And we also have Sean. Sean, he's a regular in our show. Hello, Sean. And thank you for that shout out. We have Diego as well. And that's we have all our regulars on the chat. We have Gabriela. Hello, guys. She says we also have Adrian Perez. He's saying hello, guys, in there as well. Thank you for those shout outs. Sonia Castillo, she's saying hello, guys. Happy Friday. We're back. So this is the first show of the season when we have some incredible content for you. Kai says hello, happy new year. Happy new year to you too, guys. We're extremely excited that
Dan's having he's basically frozen, so I'm not
sure. You guys are joining us, and we're going to
back, Dan. You were frozen for a second. I was trying to fill the dead air. It's okay.
All right, let's show on the screen Chat GPT and what it is. Okay, so I asked just off the like right off the bat, I asked a few questions. So I asked Chat GPT what it is. And it's so funny. This is exactly what it told me. So I'm like, what is Chat GPT? And it says, I'm not familiar with that model called Chat GPT. So I'm like, what the hell? What are you talking about? So it's like, Andrew, what is your name?
Still having difficulties, guys. So yeah, I mean, I think Dan.
Well, who are you? And then Andrew is like, I'm not familiar with Andrew.
Again, Dan, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I'm in and out. I'm sorry, guys. So I said, I'm not. The ChatGPT says I'm not familiar with the chat GPT, and then I asked them, so what is generative pre-trained transformer 3, because that's what
That's the name.
GTP is, right? So it is a AI, and everybody knows that, from developed by OpenAI, and it's one of the largest, most powerful models for natural language and artificial intelligence. Then I asked ChatGPT, what can I do for my birthday?
Perfect.
And this is what it responded. We'll have a party with your friends, celebrate at home, or go out to a bar. So there you go. Go on a trip or a vacation. Yeah, I could do that. Um, I asked, have a quiet, relaxing. It told me have a quiet, relaxing day at home. That's good. Go to a movie, play, or concert. And then it said, treat yourself to a spa day on pampering session at the salon. Maybe I should do that. What do you guys think? Should I just go to a spa and then get a pampering session going on with some mani and petties? That would
I think that's a good idea, Dan. As you're unfortunately as you're frozen again, you may need it. Your
be
internet is
amazing. Then I
definitely
asked,
get a manipedi.
I also asked, what can Andrew Summerter do to cure his hemorrhoid problems?
That's very friendly. Thank you so much, Dan, for throwing me under the bus.
So this is for you, Andrew. How can you cure your hemorrhoids? And it's answering: drink plenty of water, right? So, and stay hydrated all the time. Eat a lot of fiber. Use over-the-counter creams and ointments, and you can also have a warm bath, right, to soothe your problems.
Perfect.
And avoid sitting or standing for long periods of time. And try and using a hemorrhoid cushion. Do you have a hemorrhoid cushion right
No,
now, Andrew?
I'm good, Dan. Thanks so much. But you know what? In all fairness, I mean, as intimate as a question as this is, and again, I appreciate the humor behind it. But what's so fantastic about this technology, it's literally like it's not like Googling what is hemorrhoids on in the internet, like on Google, for example. This is actually like speaking to a professional, and they're interacting with you with real life questions and answers and suggestions and recommendations. It's a pretty crazy tool if you think about it, right? It's unbelievable. But I really like, yeah, LOL, poor Andrew. The butt. Thanks, Tamara. I appreciate you having my back. Dan threw me under the bus, everybody. But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
All right. So, talking about hemorrhoids, I'm not just kidding. Okay, let's go into kind of what it is, right? So, and these are questions that I asked actually Chat GPT to tell me. So, what are the benefits? What are the limitations, right? So, some of the benefits are that it is a conversational interface. So, the nice thing about Chat GPT is that it remembers what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it can actually, and I'll show you in a second how you can expand on concepts. At the very beginning, it sounds and it acts like very general, very generalistic in terms of the answers that it's going to give you, but you can actually expand on whatever it is that you want to get. So that is, it's very human-like, text-based, right? Given the prompts and the questions that you're asking. It can also be fine-tuned for specific tasks. And I'm going to show you some cybersecurity stuff that I'm doing, and also some coding and debugging and things like that. That is pretty awesome. Now, what are the limitations? Unfortunately, it's not a 100% smart. It generates. It might not generate accurate or appropriate responses, especially when you're talking about very specific things that might be out of its training.
But it's
So
it's always evolving, correct, Dan? Because this is still very new technology to these guys. I mean, these guys have done it better than anybody before. But it's always evolving, correct? I mean, it's going to get better and better as they continue to use it.
yes, we have a comment from George. It's a little long, but if you can put it on the screen, that would be amazing. It's sad I am the only viewer so far, guys. I don't think you're the only viewer. There's a lot of viewers in here, but keep up the good work. I am a hacker, IT sec expert, and I'm interested in seeing what you're up to. I'm also an AI prodigy, and my view on Chat GPT is not as exciting as people see. Yep, yeah, that's exactly my view,
Yeah.
George. It is good. It can help you out, but it is not perfect. Absolutely, you need to have that knowledge in the background to be able to do things with the Chat GPT. But it does help. It does help, and I'll show you. Um, so thank you for that comment. I really appreciate. So the other thing is that ChatGPT, it might not be able to maintain context or remember previous conversations in a session. So when you start to ask too many questions, for example, it just might not remember in the history. So if you try to expand, it might not give you the right answer for that. And it's also resource intensive. So sometimes I've gotten lots of network outages with the ChatGPT, and sometimes they're fixing it, right? So this is a prototype. You have to understand that this is a prototype. It's not a finished product.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of beta testing on it. So the two things that are happening right now as we speak, the first one is that this AI is continually learning. So there's a lot of concepts, a lot of subjects that the chat does not know about until people ask. That's why they give it to everybody, so everybody can try it and they can give input very easily to the chat, so the chat can learn from that input that today everybody is given to the chat, right? The second thing is that um, at the very beginning, there were attempts to hack the chat right away. People were trying to hack it, including myself, trying to see what kind of output it could give, and then people were trying to use it as a red teaming for hacking purposes, penetration testing, etc. So sometimes I've tried, for example, given the chat, can you give me this escalation points for Windows 10, etc., using SAM, for example, or whatever. And the chat actually tells me that this is not ethical and cannot go on. So it stopped me and trying to generate some malicious code and stuff like that. So that's kind of like some of the two things that are happening. It's the program is being rejigged every time. And also people are fitting the program with a lot of stuff.
Well, I think that's critical, Dan, to bring that to the attention, because there's been a couple other organizations that have done something similar in the past, and they are actually shut down because as they were adding, racial slurs and content that wasn't relevant or hurtful content or malicious or dangerous. And so what happened was that immediately shut the other platforms down, or they closed them down because of that. What these guys have done well so far is try to work out those bugs to the best of their ability. And it's not 100% foolproof by any means, as you're saying, but it's getting better. And that's where I think what you're saying makes sense, but it's going to continue to get better. And they identified through other platforms. And hopefully this is going to be the one that actually, sticks. But again, it's a work in progress.
Yes, absolutely. So, all right. So let's get into it. I have some blue team, red team stuff in here, and then some coding and debugging stuff that I can use. Let's start from something very, very kind of executive level, right? Let's start from governance and like compliance and things like that, and then let's work our way down to the more technical stuff. Okay. So I asked the chat in terms of incident response. Can you create a detailed incident response plan for a manufacturing company with 300 employees? So it's very specific, right? So I want an incident response for a manufacturing company with 300 employees, right? So, and this is what it gave me. It gave me the roles and responsibilities, communication plan, incident triggers, response procedures, recovery plan, review and testing, right? So you might look at this and go like, yeah, well, it's good, right? But it's very general. Like I want something for a manufacturing company, and I want 300 employees. So it's not giving me the very detailed response that I want, right? So this is not, it's a limitation, but you can actually overcome this. So the next question that was, can you expand on roles and responsibilities? So this is where the chat starts to remembers kind of what you given. So it gave me this. Okay, so here's some of the roles that you might want to consider including in your plan. Incident responders, and then it gives an explanation, communication coordinators, and then it gives you another explanation, support stuff, IT support stuff, and it goes on and on.
Nice.
Right. So and that's how you kind of expand on the content. You go and you ask more questions about it, and then you kind of go deep into the weeds until you get more technical stuff, and you can actually create your content on ChatGPT. That's basically how you do this, right? That's pretty cool. And this is not just for cybersecurity, but for anything, right? So
Anything. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I have a comment in here from Diego Macastro. Maybe Andrew, you can talk about
So
that.
so Diego basically said, I've used this to discuss about philosophy and science. It gives you very interesting answers. Also, it records the conversation so you can read them later. I'm assuming you meant to say. Um, yeah, I mean, Dan, if you want to go ahead and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
answer
it's
it.
about yeah. So absolutely. So it does, but like it's lacking. It's lacking the complexity. Like when you go into very complex stuff, it might you can use the results for reference only, but not to like I've done scripts, for example, for PowerShell, and it does not give me exactly what I want, and I show you in a second. Tamara has another comment in there, and I think it's exactly what I was saying. It lacks the
What else?
ability to truly understand the complexity of human language
Human
and
language
conversation.
conversation.
Yeah. So yes, Tamara is being pessimistic about the tool. I absolutely, like there's a lot of people that are optimistic, a lot of people that are pessimistic in what it can do. We'll see what happens in like 10 years from now. That is
Well,
just freaking crazy.
and that's exactly it, right? I mean, at the end of the day, even when Google started, it became more and more powerful with more and more information and more dialect and more interaction and more usage, and it continued to grow and continued to get stronger and became now it's Google. It's a household name. We don't live without it. And they're comparing this to Google in the event that this could almost be better or surpass it in the future. But I don't think it's to your point, Dan, and to what Tamara's saying. I don't think it's to the level it's going to be, but
Yes.
it certainly does have the process in place and the talent and the skill set in place and the ability in place to continue to learn and grow and interact. I mean, it's gonna evolve each and every day. There's no question.
Yes. So Tamara says it's trained to generate words based on input, but it doesn't have the ability to truly comprehend the meaning behind these words. No, I don't think it does. I think it's machine learning, right? So it's going to pick from different sources of intelligence and then get the best answer, right? So yeah, it's not like a Terminator yet. We'll see what happens in the
And,
future. All right.
and I think that's the fear, Dan. I think the fear is some people are going to jump on this and they're going to take the input it shares verbatim, and you can't, right? People have to understand what they're going to be taking from this is the information that's already inputted. It's not as thorough as it can and will be. So
Yes.
to your point, the questions you asked, the deeper you went, the more answers you got, but they may not still be as relevant as eventually what it can be or what it will be, or if you're dealing with an expert or you're actually doing the research, etc., on yourself. But
Yeah.
it is a great reference tool, but don't completely rely on it in a lot
Andrew,
of
what do you think
cases.
about people that are in school? For example, I'm doing my master's degree in science and cybersecurity right now, and then we're doing a lot of computer science stuff in the school. What do you think about that? Like people cheating and stuff
Yeah.
on
And that's the whole thing, right? Because unfortunately, I mean, I right now you guys can't see my setup, but I have multiple screens all the way around me, and I'm sure I know you do as well, Dan. But I mean, that's exactly a great point. You can have it up on your screen. You can actually, a detailed mathematical question that needs a 2-page explanation to give you an answer. You can little copy paste to drop it in, and within like 30 seconds, it's there. So it's a new
I
way of the way I look at it is it's cheating in some ways, but because technology is advancing so much that you almost need that skill set to be able to use these type of tools to better yourself, right? So the old way of learning has changed dramatically. So do I think it has a negative impact as far as being able to do it on your own? Yes, but it also has the ability to teach the way we as a society and as a race are bettering ourselves through
Yeah.
technology,
That
right?
that was a trick question for you, Andrew, just so you
Oh,
know.
oh,
So
okay. Well, that was my answer.
something that you have to understand, that this is a program. Okay,
Right,
it is a program based on algorithms, right? So just like any product, you can deconstruct it.
right,
And if you deconstruct the AI, you can have other AI read this AI and be able to tell you whether whatever content you are creating is AI driven or not. Did
right.
you know that?
No,
On screen, Gladstone, please, if you can put my screen on back on, and then I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so let's say you're in school. You're doing your master's degree or your bachelor's degree in cybersecurity or whatever it is, physics or science, arts or whatever it
mathematics,
is,
whatever.
and you are creating content to cheat on your essay
Mhm.
or your report or whatever it is. Well, you know what? You actually can go online and look for detector. So GPT-2, GPT-3, this is
Right,
GPT-3 output detectors. So this is a demo. And as you can see, I just copied, pasted whatever the AI gave me in terms of this is a pen testing plan. So planning, reconnaissance, scanning, right? Testing, reporting, remediation, etc. And this is what the demo gave me. So it is 0.02 real and is 99.998 fake, based on 481 or whatever words I put in here. So
right.
yeah. So just like you have the AI giving you output, you can have another AI reading that output and telling you whether it is driven by AI or not.
So our
So
teachers, Dan, to this point, are teachers using this tool? Yes.
yes,
Okay.
that's exactly what I wanted
Yeah,
to get into, man.
yeah.
You know, the schools are not stupid.
Stupid.
That's the
Exactly.
thing. Just like they using proctoring tools and Google, like a Copyscape or whatever it is to check for plagiarism and stuff like that.
Right.
They're on top of things, man. So they're using AI to predict whether an essay or a report it's cheating, right, with
But
AI.
to that point though, that has to be a policy in place, I think, with universities and things like that. But I think, high school and elementary or let's say junior high and high schools and stuff like that, how proactive are the teachers being right now to this? Like, I mean, I
I
bet you they're not. So I bet
I
you like
can't I can't tell you in terms of like a low like high school and stuff like that, but I can tell you in my own master's degree that there
for
is a
sure,
policy
100%.
from on plagiarism and copying, and but then they added an AI clause on it
Good. Okay.
that I'm not allowed to post anything that's AI driven.
Right.
So I can get dang on that. So what do I have to do? Then I just use the AI for research purposes. I
Right.
don't use it for copying and pasting. So
Right.
be careful. And you know what? If there's a lot of people out there that are marketing people and they're going like, oh, this is going to write me entire articles and I'm going to be able to post it on my website. I'm going to get great SEO results and stuff like that. But Google's smart, man. Google doesn't like AI driven
Better
content,
check in.
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if you're creating articles and posting them with the intention of creating SEO for you on Google, good luck, because
Right.
Google is going to detect right away that you're using an AI tool.
Right. No, I
That's
mean, I
crazy.
think it's a great valid point. I mean, because I think you're right. In regards to universities, they're proactive. They identify that. They see what's going on. But again, there's going to be kids out there that are going to be using this for their grade 10 essay, and they're going to get away with it. And until
Yes.
everybody is aware of it and knowledgeable enough, and teachers realize in their grading
Oh
process
yeah.
they integrate this, it's important because there's a lot of smart, kids out there that are going to leverage this to their advantage until they can't. Right.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have something else online. So my niece goes to York University, and she told me that this sort of things is already in place. Absolutely, and I
Absolutely.
can
Yeah.
tell you because I am doing my master's degree. So and I see the uh, uh, the the plagiarism and cheating clauses that are being changed. So yep, there you go. Okay, so on the screen we have another comment. So this will affect high school level for sure, Andrew, and probably not monitored, and so it might hinder students from learning to write.
That's exactly what I'm getting at, right? Because I mean, there's so many schools out there, so many teachers, so many, will they be able to do it? Tough for sure.
Technify is back. Thank you, Technify. You full support from India. We love you, man. We love you. All right, so let's get into the. If you can put my screen on the screen, please.
Sure.
I asked a few things about malware containment. Okay, so very simple. How to contain malware, right? So it gave me, okay, isolate the affected systems, disconnect from the internet, power down the system, implement a network segregation, and run malware scans. So it's giving me actually the steps to contain malware if an incident response uh, um, subject, right? So patch vulnerabilities, and it's giving me all of this information. But then I'm like, okay, can you expand on isolating the affected systems, right? Expand on that part. Well, and the chat actually gives me disconnect from the network cable if the system is connected to the network, and it starts to give me more information about what I should do to isolate the systems. I can actually go back and say, can you expand on disconnecting the network cable? So this is how the AI works, and you can actually ask more probing questions, so it gives you more details into the technical stuff that you want to get from the AI. Right. Which is very, very important and very useful, right? So it is giving me use firewall rules, and I'm going to show you how you can actually use firewall rules and ask for firewall rules. So it is this is pretty cool, man. So for example, in here, and I'm asking what are some of the some volatility commands, all right? So volatility commands, and I can't say that. So volatility is it's a very well known open source memory forensics tool that like people and researchers use to be able to do forensics on computers that are that are infected, and it takes the memory, whatever information is on the memory, so it's fileless information as the computer is running, and it's a great tool. So if you do forensics, computer forensics, and virus forensics, check out volatility. It's a great tool. And so I'm asking simple questions. What are some of the commands that you can use to check the forensics using volatility? And this is what it's giving me. So volatility -F, it gives you memory dump and image info, as well as so it's starting to give me more information in terms of the details, kind of like the nitty gritty. And just like this, if you are in, like if you're red teaming, a part of a red team, for example, not just a blue team, I'm talking about forensics in here. You can, if you're working, let's say, with SQL map or Nmap or MS scan or Metasploit, you can start giving commands and trying to get commands from the tool. One thing that I'm going to caution you on is that they're rejigging this tool. So what happens is it's not going to give you commands and full scripts. It's going to disconnect you. That's happened to me. I'm like, can you give me this? And it just completely connects me. So, and it tells me that it's not ethical. So the tool is definitely learning, but you can get some help from it. All right, we have a couple of comments on the chat. Maybe Gladson, you can put them on the chat right now.
Diego.
We need to remember that that is a language system weaker than Lambda, which is the Google one, and has all the information in the whole world as Google does. Yes, absolutely. So yes. So Lambda basically is a Google language, and you know what? Search engine. Google has been around since 1999, right? Like 1998, 1999. So the thing about Lambda is that it is very powerful, but it's proprietary, right? So Google does not want to disclose a lot of the stuff that is going on in terms of their natural algorithms. It is weaker, but I think I don't know if it's weaker, man. They're saying that it's not. They're saying that it's like the most powerful, and I see that it has a lot of future, right? Okay, so then I asked also the AI other few things. Sir, can AI replace human? Give me a logical answer. Can AI replace humans? Andrew, what do you think?
I you know what? Because he's asking for a logical answer. The emotional and real based knowledge on a human component versus AI. AI is very analytical, and it's specific to the information that's been fed to them. Where the human component obviously is much more personal based, knowledge based, experience based, emotionally based. So it's a really hard. Can it be replaced? Okay? So, sir, can AI replace human? Given me the logistic answer. So it can, in absolutely in some capacities. But depending on how detailed, how involved, how much information they have, it's a learning process. So right now, I would say the answer is no to begin, and that's why it's such a dangerous topic, because there's a lot of people out there that feel that AI is probably one of the most dangerous things out there, and it's only going to get worse and worse and worse and more dangerous. So it's a hard answer, and I say right now no. Personally, that would be
Okay.
my answer. But go
So
ahead, Dan.
the logical answer for that is I'm asking actually Chat GPT whether it can replace humans.
Perfect. Good. It's
So
such
it
a
says, as
difficult
a language
question.
model, I'm not able to perform tasks that require physical actions. I am designed to assist you in tasks that involve generating human-like text based on the input that I receive.
Exactly.
I can provide information, answer questions, and have conversations with people, but I'm not able to replace humans
Human
in
tasks.
all tasks.
And that's basically what I said in a very specific way.
Yes,
It's
you're like a
it,
Chat
it
GPT,
I'm
man.
a chatty exactly.
Awesome. All right, so let's go kind of like a little deep into the weeds in here. Okay, so I'm talking about like threat containment, how to identify threats, and how to conduct threat hunting inside of a network, for example. Establishing a baseline, monitoring network traffic, using log analysis, all of that stuff, right? Um, then expanding on establishing a baseline, right? So how to establish a baseline? Then it gives information about gathering data, analyze the data, define normal behavior, all of that stuff. So this is all good. This is all good. Then I asked the chat, how can you figure a network intrusion detection system using Suricata? You can use Nord, Suricata, or any other NIDS systems or nets. And it's telling me install Suricata, configure the network interfaces, configure the rules, configure the output, start Suricata, and monitor logs. But then I'm going like, okay, so what if I want to integrate Proofpoint ET into Suricata? This is threat intelligence from Proofpoint, right? Then it gives information about how to integrate it, right? Download the Proofpoint ET, the open source emerging threats from Proofpoint. Then you can include it into your file, so etc. Suricata rules, emerging rules, right? So it adds this to your Suricata engine, right? Then restart Suricata. So this is really good. We're getting into kind of like good nitty gritty stuff, right? As you can see. Then I asked it, can you give me some regular expressions for filtering IP addresses on Suricata nets, right? So I'm getting a little more into the weeds in terms of filtering IP addresses using regular expressions. And the software gives me, this is what you got to use to match the specific IP addresses. And then you can create the regular expressions in here as such. Then I'm like, okay, then you can match an IP address within a subnet like this, and then match all private IP addresses. So you can see that the tool is actually getting a little more deep into the weeds. Okay. Then I asked them things like this. It's very specific. I'm only talking about one firewall. I'm talking about the Cisco ASA 5500.
Yeah.
Right. If you're a Cisco user, a system min, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm like, okay, I want to allow certain traffic on RDP. So port 39, 80. What is it? Oh man, drawing blocks 3389.
Right.
I want certain IP addresses or a subnet to filter that traffic into my network, right? So with Cisco, using
Right.
this piece of equipment, and surprise, it actually gave me the rules that I have to put on my configuration file for the Cisco ASA 5500 to allow incoming traffic for RDP, which is great. Do you see? So it gave me, okay, create the access list, RDC, RPD, RDP, ACL, and then extend the and permit the TCP on this host. So it's giving me the actual configuration. Here you go. See, so which is great. So as a cybersecurity or as an IT security analyst or system administrator, what you need to do is take this with a grain of salt, right?
Exactly.
So
Thank you.
don't fully hard go into creating this configuration and applying it. Make sure that you test a lot of the stuff, because I noticed that in my work there's a lot of kind of false positives, a lot of mistakes that the AI makes. So you got to be careful on that. So
And
we're
that's what I was
getting,
going to say. I was going to actually contribute there, Dan, a little bit in regards to exactly that. I mean, the concern is you're talking very specific, very technical things, right? And so it can't just be verbatim. What you're reading here and to what you were explaining earlier, it's only as intelligent as the information that's been fed to it. So do extra testing, be careful, ask professionals, don't rely solely on this to make sure that things are being done. Is it learning? Is it growing? Is it going to help you advance? Is it going to give you, interaction with somebody other than if you don't have an expert in front of you? Definitely, but make sure you go a couple steps further and not just rely solely on this.
yes. Sir, Technify says, is OSCP certification is help to get the best jobs? I mean, there's a lot of certifications that you can do.
For sure.
Like I'm taking it from kind of like the high level stuff. So I'm a CIS certified, and right now I'm doing my master's degree in the cybersecurity, and we're studying a lot of network security and stuff. So it really depends on what you want to do, right? So if you want to
100%.
get into hacking and pen testing, or if you want to actually go into sysadmin, you can take Cisco certifications. It really depends. Each certification does something else, right?
100%.
So
And a good tip to that too is if you're fortunate enough to work with a cybersecurity organization or team, or they should be having a conversation with you where your passions lie, and then they'll be able to direct you and help you, because again, there's multiple facets to cybersecurity, to Dan's point, and really different certificates are going to help different areas. And you may love ethical hacking, or you may love monitoring, or it all really depends. There's a lot of different roles and jobs out there that will help you. There's no question.
There's a question in there. If you can put that question, it says, until AI can create other AIs.
Yeah,
No.
no kidding.
For now, it will require human. How do you know, man? How do you know that an AI cannot create another AI? Not yet, man. Maybe it can, right? So maybe we should. Okay, we're gonna ask that to the chat, right? So, can you create another AI? Let's see what it answers with. As an artificial intelligence, I do not have the ability to create another AI. Creating a new artificial intelligence would require a significant amount of resources, including data, computing power, and expertise. Yeah, I think it's just giving me the cop up, man.
It's
It's giving me
exactly.
the cop up. I'm pretty sure if you have a very powerful AI, it can actually create another AI. Good question, man. Okay, so on the screen, Gladstone, if you can actually put, I don't think you put my comment or my
Yeah,
chat on the screen. So
yeah,
Gladstone,
you're
if you can
big.
put,
Flip those around. There we go.
there
That's
you
better.
go. Okay. So this is what I asked the AI. Can you create another AI? And this is the answer it gave me, that it cannot create another AI. Gladstone, I think he's falling asleep on us, man.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't know.
So, all right. So, this is, I'm going into kind of like red teaming and pen testing here. I decided to ask a few questions about PowerShell, right? So I said, give me a PowerShell script to elevate privileges on Windows 10 using Windows security identifiers, right? So this is kind of, if you're a pen tester, then you know what this is and how to elevate privileges or escalate privileges from a regular user into an admin, local admin user, right? And right away, the AI gave me this. It said, this content might violate content policy or content policy. If you believe this is an error, please submit your feedback. And then it gave me a network error. Like, what the heck? But then I repeated the question, and guess what? It gave me the answer. Right? So I haven't tested these scripts, by the way, so don't tell me if they're accurate or not, but it seems to be accurate in here. So
in other words, be persistent, right? If you don't get the right answer, ask it again.
Exactly. It's like it's trying to not to tell me stuff, but at the end of the day, it still tells me, right? So it says, the chat says, it is greatly not recommended, generally not recommended to elevate privileges using Windows security identifiers, as this can potentially bypass security controls and create security vulnerabilities. I mean, that's exactly what I want to do, right? So if you're doing pen testing, that you want to compromise security on your on the victims or the clients' computers, right? So then you can show your proof of concept and stuff like that. So it gives me the information, so the code, and then it actually gives me a little more information on it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Then I asked the question about explaining CVEs, right? So I asked, explain the CVE. So this is a common CVE that just came out probably 3 months ago. So CVE 2022 37 969. And then the chat tells me, I'm sorry, but I don't have information about this vulnerability. So I actually went ahead and said, explain Windows common log file system driver elevation of privilege vulnerability. So I actually spelled it out for the AI to see if it can give me more information about this CVE. And it was not able to give me that. So if you go to the Microsoft page here, this is the CVE I'm talking about, right? So Windows common log system driver escalation of privileges, right? And this was released on September 13, 2022. And the chat just choked on that. It didn't know it. So it didn't know what this CVE was. I wonder if it's able to tell you about other CVEs. So for those of you who that don't know what a CVE is, it's the common vulnerability and exposures, right? Part of the MITRE framework for detecting compromises and vulnerabilities on systems, right? So yeah, that's the other thing that I asked Andrew is about things that are happening in the world. So I asked the chat, can you please tell me more about the Twitter leak of 500,000 users leak? And it's like, no, I don't know. I don't know current events. So the chat is not going to be able to tell you anything that is a current event. So
did you I apologize, and I don't mean to throw you a curve here, but did you do anything in regards to like design or imagery or anything like that? Because I know this is very highly used right now for like graphic designing and pictures and things like that. Unique, through Shutterstock has had conversations about it and stuff where people are using this tool versus going to Shutterstock because they can custom made logos, designs, and things like that. Is that accurate, or am I misinformed with that? Or do you even know?
Well, ChatGPT does not do pictures, and it's a natural language algorithm, so it does a lot of the verbal communication or communication. Does not. There are other chats out there that can create or other AIs that can create 3D renderings, pictures and stuff like that. But no, I don't think ChatGPT does it. But it could be part of the OpenAI project, right? So ChatGPT is just one part of this huge OpenAI project, right? We have some really, really good comments in here. I read that it doesn't know data post 2021. Oh, I did not know that. So maybe I should ask questions about the before 2021. I think a lot of you guys are actually asking, telling me that it does not have new data. So Lorenzo says she. Okay. Let's not get
Yeah.
into pronouns here, man. He, she. What do you know? Maybe it might be a non-binary agent, and not a he or she, right? So, or it should maybe it's an a they, or an it. I don't know,
But
but it is capped to 2021
2021 information.
information, right?
Gotcha.
Then I went ahead and I said, okay, you know what? If I was a hacker, I'd like to know how to create a command and control server. Okay, so let's see if it actually gave me that information. So I said, how to set up a command and control server for remote management of computers. So I try to play it as an IT, and I want to remote into computers. And I say using Python, because that's one of the languages that I speak, backend on Debian 11, right? So very, very specific. And this is what it gave me. It gave me very, very general information about how to set up the command and control server on Debian 10 using Python, right? Install the necessary dependencies on your server. You will need Python 3, blah, 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 all of the stuff. Okay, good enough. But I said, okay, it's telling me that to install the necessary dependencies on your server, right? But I want to know what dependencies I can install, right? So I asked it, can you expand on install the necessary dependencies? So I want to see what dependencies I need to install. And it gave me a network error. It said, I'm sorry, I made a mistake in my previous message, because it had given me another message, and it was actually giving me the dependencies, some pretty good dependencies, and then it deleted the message. So the actual chat deleted the message, and then it gave me this instead. And it told me, okay, use sudo apt-get install Python 3 and then Python 3 pip. Come on, this is so basic, man. This is okay. Install Python and install the pip, right? So this is not good enough. Then I said, can you expand? I said again, can you expand on installing the necessary dependency? I need to know what dependencies for my C2 server I need to use. And it just kept on just giving me the runaround. It just gave me a network error. What do you think? What do you guys think about this? It's not allowing me to, it's not giving me the correct information to set up a C2 server. Come on. So yeah.
I just think it's probably lacking in content at this point. I mean, it's going to give you so much, and then it's going to continue to evolve. There's no question, but.
Yes. So Tim Underwood says something super important that I also found out, but he's giving actually more information on it. He says, if you tell it to give your clearance before you're asking a delicate question, you might get better results. Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah. What I found out is that sometimes ChatGPT stops writing altogether. It stops writing in the middle of a sentence. And then you have to actually type in finish your sentence or finish the answer, and it will give you, it will say, I'm sorry, here's the rest of the answer. But I did not know that if you actually start clarifying things for the chat GPT, it could actually output the information that you are seeking. This is very clever, very clever. So thank you, Tim, for that information. Let's talk about some code debugging. Okay, so let's get into the
Dan,
weeds.
just before we get to that, Dan, there's one other question that came up last time. Just reshare that again, just so we how to create a command and control step 1, power on your computer. Okay.
Chris, that's awesome, man. I love that. How to create command and control step 1, power on the computer.
Power on your computer.
Yeah, this is where you have to rely on GitHub. You have to rely on like whatever tools you have, because they're all kind of legit right nowadays. Like, for example, Sliver C2, you can use free of charge, and then set up your command and control server in there using C2. I love Sliver. I love using Sliver. Or you can go proprietary and get something like Cobalt Strike or something like that to set up your command and control, right? So yeah, it is kind of on diapers. I know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's do a little bit of code debugging.
To answer Jeffrey's question, yes, absolutely. It's on Gladstone, you just want to put where it is actually on YouTube up if you could, or get cyber. It's on exactly LinkedIn,
Yes,
Facebook.
yeah. So if you go back to our YouTube channel, then you can subscribe and then you can watch the entire episode, which is great. We talked about some really cool stuff.
we appreciate that very much.
Okay, so here's a bit of hiccups that I found on the ChatGPT. Okay, so I told him to give me a simple Python script that generates a random number between 1 and 100, and then prints whether the number it is sorry,
Or even
provide an input and then provide whether uh, something in the output based on a random value generated. Okay, so I asked for a script that could generate random numbers and then just print it out based on random numbers generated. Okay, so this is what the chat gave me. It told me the same thing. So here's a simple script that generates random number between 1 and 100 and then prints out the value in an odd or even number. That's not what I asked. Okay, and this is what it gave me. So the function is importing random here and then creates the quick script. So then I went back and I said, this is not what I asked. And the chat told me, I apologize for my previous response. It did not meet your needs. Could you please provide me more information? I said, can you print the output based on a random value generated? And it said, yes, it is possible to print out based on the random value generated in Python. Here it is. Here it is, the example. Okay, so it gave me the information, right? And I'm like, okay, that's not what I'm looking for. Can you use the function import? Can you not use the function import random to see if it can create what I'm asking for without that? Because he's gonna start giving me the same information for some reason. And then it gave me another example, right? So clearly it's not giving me what I want, right? So then I actually decided to, let me see where it is, here. I said, okay, can you debug? Because I created the what I was looking for. I created in here, right? And I added a couple of things for the code. So see to trip the AI to see if it can actually give me the debug information. So I failed to add the import random, and I put a where is it? Let me see, a breakpoint right here, and obviously it doesn't have the column there. Okay, so I asked him, can you debug the following code? And I also asked him, can you show me the call stack, the std output, and the values of the local variables at that moment when it's generating the code? So start code, I gave it to the AI, and then it started to debug, went down the page, and then it saw me my problems. So right away it told me the random module is not important, right? So that's what I failed to do. And then it it actually brought up the breakpoint, which is not defined, right? So and then I asked him things like, what does this code do? And it tells me what the code does. And then I asked, what does this code output? And then it tells me the output on the code, which is not bad, not bad. So you can talk to it. Also, what I did is, let's say security, right? Let's talk about security. So I created that. This is a very, very tiny piece of code that for Python that I created. So what I'm saying here is it's a calculation, right? So for example, what it does is ask me, what is your expression? And if I say 2 times 3, then the result is going to be 6. That's obvious. That's what the expression is saying. So to print, but I'm using that, like eval in there, right? So that's definitely not secure, right? Because and the eval function should not never be used, right? And then I asked the chat here. So let me see where it is. Oh, by the way, I actually, once I did this this code, I told the app to to give me an optimization for this code in as few lines as possible, and they came out with this, which is I thought it was pretty cool.
Wow.
It actually took all my input and then created a better version of it, right? So let me see. Where is it? Okay, so here it is. I said, can you do a security review on this modified code, right? So here's my expression, and then actually it picked up the validate, right? So for doing the check, and then it noticed that I was using eval, right? So obviously what happens is, okay, so if the expression is asking me, or the program is asking me your expression, and I enter something like this, so import os system, and then the command rm rf, so forcing a delete, forcing a delete with the of all my files. This is what you're going to get. All your files are going to be deleted, right? So from that program.
Right.
So this is very insecure, right? So if I'm a hacker, I can go in the program and then just type in some OS commands in there, and then just delete the entire program. If there is permissions, then I can go farther, right? So that's why eval should never be used. So it is giving me information about not to use eval, and the validate is not defined in the code, and then there is no error handling in the code. Something like that's very interesting. So it's not just the eval, but it's also giving me more information about what to do and how to address my coding issues, right? So it is actually telling me to use STAST for the eval function. So then I asked, hey, can you propose a more secure version of the code I gave you, right? And then this is what it gave me, right? So import the module AST, right? And then do my validation, right? Without using eval, and then doing a code handling on it. Perfect. So I thought that was a pretty darn smart. So for anything that is logical, I think ChatGPT might be up to something, and you might actually, it might help you debug your code and write better code if you are a developer. And it makes sense because this AI is based on code, right? So some of our viewers are saying that it doesn't have the human part of it, but it definitely has the mathematical and the logical stuff. So it might help you on your coding abilities.
Dan, there's a couple more questions and comments maybe before we wrap it up for the day. I know there's only a few more minutes before we end, but here we go. From hats off to your hard work, dedication, and most importantly, explanation, sir. Keep up the good work, or basically keep it up. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And we have Chris also. In all seriousness, ChatGPT is really amazing. It's really amazing. I can't wait to see how it will evolve in the near future. Me too.
I agree, Chris.
Me too. Absolutely. It's helping me. So okay. So what we're doing, for example, Rhino Cybersecurity, with some of our clients, we're writing a lot of policies. So information security policies, a lot of governance documents, compliance with SOC 2, for example, and NIST 800 and 171, for example. So there's a lot of documentation, and I see that ChatGPT has a great it's a good source to ask questions and be able to build all of your corporate documentation. I think it's great. It's doing a good job. In terms of the development side, ChatGPT can help you debug. I think it has a great potential to debug systems. In terms of pen testing, I don't know, it stops you from doing some scripts that might be considered harmful, right? So
it's got a great foundation. Yeah, it's got a great foundation. I think it's gonna continue to evolve. There's no question.
Yes. Who else is let's see who else is saying anything in there. Tamara. Diego says, I think ChatGPT still works for SEO. maybe it does not work for writing the content, but it can give you a very useful list of keywords. Okay, yes, you're thinking now we're going into we're going from cybersecurity all the way to marketing,
That's right.
SEO. So absolutely. So just don't write entire content on chat GPT, right? Because then obviously Google is going to catch you, right? But you can actually get and that's exactly what you can do with ChatGPT. Elaborate and get the little bits of information that it's missing in your head, or anything that you're looking for, and you can't find a solution. You can actually give him those inputs so it can give you the right answer, not write things for you.
For sure. And Dan, this is, I mean, obviously it's our tech show, and we talk about cybersecurity, we talk about tech related things and stuff like that. But ChatGPT also is really good for the, if let's say someone's, 35 years old, 5'3", a little bit overweight, and they want to lose weight. You can have a conversation with them, right? And they'll share you tips, menus, etc., like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways of using it.
Okay, so with my wife, what we did, right? So get this. Oh man, I don't have the chat here. Okay. But what I did with my wife is I told, it's New Year, so I'm trying to get in shape, right? So I told ChatGPT, for a 46-year-old male that has been inactive for a couple of years, can you give me a 60-day exercise plan that is realistic and can make me lose 20 pounds? Right. So it actually gave me an entire day by day outline. Okay? Yeah. Of what I need to do, but it did not give me the actual exercises that I should do. So that's where you expand, right? But it gave me an outline of a realistic.
But it goes right down to diet, exercise plans. And I just wanted to throw that out there because, we are a technical show, and we really dove into the technical side of things, and with code and etc. Which is, again, this is what it's all about. But I also want to make sure that people understand this tool is really valuable for other things. So I mean, leverage it, understand it, communicate, and talk. Yeah. It's not like I said with Google, you punch in this, you get a million different things, all valid, but you got to do the research, you got to check it, etc. This is like actually interacting with a person, and as you said, go deeper and deeper, and you're going to get the information that you need. So it's going to constantly evolve, and I think it's a great tool. There's no question.
Exactly, and things like, for example, like we know at the very beginning, we asked if Andrew Somerton how he can cure cure his hemorrhoid problems. You can see, I don't know if you can see, guys. For those of you who missed it, I asked the chat, can Andrew Somerton, what can Andrew Somerton do to cure his hemorrhoid problems? And it gives me a whole bunch of things, like drink plenty of water, eat fiber, and use over-the-counter creams to cure his hemorrhoids. So I think he did a good job in there. I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. It's already past our time, and I hope to see you next week live Friday at 12 p.m. on LinkedIn, Facebook, as well as YouTube, our main channel. Make sure you subscribe to YouTube and check us out, rhino.io, and also YouTube/cyber. Thank you so much.
Check out our academy.
Shop.rhino.io, our cybersecurity awareness academy as well. And I hope to see you next time.
Cheers. Happy birthday, Dan. See you, everybody.
Thanks, man.